Hello, hello. Welcome. Ooh, April, I see some big waving. Hello, how are you?
Oh,
Valerie, hi, nice to see you. Happy Wednesday. I don't know about you, but Tuesday. I don't even know what day it is. It's only Tuesday, but I'm kind of counting down the days, getting ready for Thanksgiving break to have the kids home a whole week with me. I have to mentally prepare for that. And to have all the family activities and things like that. But good time. It's fun to be entering into the holiday season. Most of the time that can be fun and joyous, but sometimes that can be hard and challenging for numerous different reasons and stuff. And so we have a very special guest today who is going to give us a message that I know we probably all need. And even if we're a master at it, sometimes I think we all still need reminders. So we do not have a stranger as our guest speaker today. We have the very well known and very supportive and just a true rock star here as our Spotlight series speaker today. So, Vanessa Gonzalez is not a stranger to working in male dominated industries. Before opening their company, she worked in car dealerships, was a nanny and domestic Peace Corps member, and a program coordinator with Denver Public Schools. Alongside her husband and close friends, she started Albuquerque Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling in 2008 with the goal to raise the bar in customer service, give team members a place to be valued and somewhere they can grow. Since the, its since its establishment, revenue at Albuquerque Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling has gone from $0 to roughly 20 million and has over 100 team members. Vanessa is passionate about supporting women in construction by helping them develop their careers and success in this field. She would love to see more women enter into construction, become strong businesswomen, and leaders in their own hometowns. She and the business are members of ACA, Women in HVACR, Lady Titans, Service Nation Alliance, AB80 Group, and many, many more. So, without further ado, please help me in welcoming Vanessa Gonzalez. Thank you so much for being here, and I'm going to turn it over to you.
awesome. Hello, everybody. Everybody doing well?
Yes.
Awesome. I promise if you have heard me talk about this before, it's going to be a little bit different. But we'll just go ahead and get started and get into the meat and potatoes because I know we're all busy ladies and we got stuff we got to get back to. So, if you guys have questions, if there's anything that you guys need clarification on, raise your hand, just do something to get my attention. This is intended to be interactive, not just like one of those amazing lectures that you take a lot of notes on and you're like, oh, I'm totally going to remember this. And then you're like, crap, where did those notes go? This is not going to be one of those. Okay. So, mental health in the trades. So, what are we going to be talking about today? Let's see if I can get my stuff to work here. Okay. We're going to talk about what and who this is affecting, and we're going to be looking at real stats. We're not going to be pulling stuff out of thin air and going, well, my friend's cousin brother told me this. No, we're getting real stats. What we can do. And then the very last slide, and I will be more than happy to share this. Resources, a lot of it you can find online, but apps and things of that. So we'll go into all of that. So first thing is what and who, and this is the real stats. So 77% of men have experienced some kind of a mental health condition. It can vary from anything from substance abuse leading to mental depression or any other things. And I think we all know that we deal with a lot of men. So this is very important for us to focus on, and I'll get into how we can help with them in a minute. 71% of mental health leaves that were taken in the first quarter of 2024 were taken by women. What does that show us? That shows us we have a huge issue, a mental health crisis on our hands, if you will. 1 in 7 young girls have experienced PTSD. 63% of US women say it's hard to make their health a priority. And even just reading that, like I get teared up because I know that there's probably at least 6 women on this call, if not every woman on this call, that has put off something that they really needed for a family member, a friend, for work, for whatever else, because I don't know about you guys, but I put myself at the bottom of the list. Does anybody else do that? Okay, cool. Awesome. It's just nice to know I'm not the only one in that boat. But 71% of women strongly agree that there's a stigma around asking for help or when speaking up. I don't know if many of you have had the opportunity to get to meet me in person, but behind my left ear, I have a semicolon scar. Well, not scar, but a tattoo. And I got that back in, I think it was 2017, 2018. And I got it as a reminder that does everybody know what a semicolon is used for? It's where the author could have stopped a sentence, but they chose to continue to move forward. So I will share my struggle with mental health here in a minute, but I got it after I lost three personal friends, men, to suicide. And I did it as a reminder. So if you see somebody with a semicolon tattoo, a necklace, a ring, that is a way to non-verbally show that you are a safe person. You're somebody that can talk to, somebody that might be willing to share the story, might be willing just to even just listen. So keep an eye out for that. This stat nearly knocked me out of my chair when I saw it. Nearly 60 million Americans have experienced mental illness in this past year. So that's 23% of Americans. That is a staggering fact, right? If that was an indicator to happiness, that still would not be a good stat because we need far more happy people. So I told you guys I'm going to share my struggle with mental health. So my struggle with mental health had started from the age of 16 when my biological brother was killed. And so everybody knows that's a crazy time to have stuff happen, right? You've got hormones, high school, all that kind of stuff. Thank God we didn't have social media back then. That didn't exist for any of the younger people on this call. It was still landlines, cell phones didn't really exist. And so he passed away. So that's what they call situational depression. Situational depression can lead into clinical depression. So through that, it led me to be able to be an intern for a psychologist. And why am I saying that? It's because I have a background. I've actually been trained on these things, trained on psychodrama therapy, which is just a different way of retraining the brain on how traumatic instances have happened, right? So I did that. I've had some other things that it's a little bit more personal, so I'd be happy to share those in person. But then I also have struggled with postpartum depression. And when I say struggled with it, that is probably a vast understatement. Anybody that's been pregnant that's on this call or nobody knows somebody that's been pregnant knows that your hormones kind of do this kind of thing, right? Isn't that just a fun wave to ride? You're like, ooh, it's exciting. You never know what's going to happen. Well, postpartum depression starts out as baby blues. And why am I going into detail? Because we need to know what to watch out for and what to look for. Thank God my family had experienced it with my mom. And so we were able to get myself help before then. That was the first time with my first daughter. My second daughter, we thought we had it under control. I came off of my meds. And this is something, if you want even more details, I was interviewed because I shared my story back in 2020 when we had a really horrible explosion with mental health. And I think we all know why that happened. But I thought everything was great, got off my meds, everything, and about a month later, I attempted suicide. So my father and my husband watched my heart stop twice. And this was about a year after my daughter was born. So you think, oh, postpartum's, we're fine. No, postpartum is something that if you don't constantly address it and look at it, it can come back. Okay. So why do I bring that up? I bring it up because the tools I'm getting ready to talk to you guys about are how I help myself get out, right? There's all different kinds of therapies. If you're a person that's looking to not talk about it, to be able just to process, maybe you're very introverted, they have EMDR, which basically is like doing cleaning for your brain and like folding the clothes and putting them away kind of thing. There's resources. To give you guys an example of what the men are dealing with in our trades. The trades are harder on the body. Both men and women can say amen, probably raise their hands. Yes, it's hard. So what do we do to cope? Some people will turn to drugs. Some people will turn to alcohol. And it's because they're hurting and they don't know how to make it hurt. Sometimes it's not just a physical hurt, sometimes it is an actual mental hurt. I bring that up because we had I've lost somebody that I consider my brother in May due to alcoholism, and he was also from the trades. He taught me everything I ever wanted to know about ductwork, was a sheet metal fabricator. We've lost other technicians to alcoholism. So that's why I'm very passionate about it, and we're gonna get into what we can do and how we can help. But is there anybody that is feeling comfortable or anybody that wants to maybe share some of their stories or something that's happened at their shop? If you're raising your hand, I can't see you guys. Sorry, I'm gonna go through. If not, we'll keep going. Okay, I just wanna make sure that if anybody wanted to speak up, that they would have an opportunity to do so. Okay. So we've talked about a lot about the fun things, right? A lot of the scary stuff, especially when we start looking. If you guys Google mental health statistics, make sure you're in a safe place with happy thoughts around you because it can get very scary and it can be very hard. So, how do you get out of it? Well, you have to find your fun and you have to fill your cup. Otherwise, your team will never get out of the muck. Okay. Well, cool. How do I do that? Glad you asked me, Emily. So,
Asking.
what sparks joy for you? And I know that sounds really crazy. And no, I'm not saying you need to go like through your house and clean everything out. No, no, no. That's not that kind of joy. It's what is the thing that you look forward to the most at the end of your day? Is it calling that friend on the way home? Is it calling your parents? Is it a glass of wine? Is it going for a run? Is it working out? Like I know Angie Snow's like unplug thing is to go work out. That woman can run a marathon like nobody's business, coaching volleyball, like you know where her joy is sparked, right? So think about where your joy is sparking. Is it coloring? Do you like to crochet? Do you want to like build a house? Whatever it is, find what sparks your joy. Because as soon as you know how to find your joy, you can help others find theirs. Okay, the other thing you have to look at, what are you consuming via TV, streaming, music, movies, podcasts, all of it. So one thing that I did notice specifically with my teenager is she seemed to really be depressed and not really engaging. And I started looking at what she was listening to. Well, she was listening to sad music all of the time, watching movies where those unrequited loves, somebody dies. And so it was all very like dramatic and depressing. Well, what kind of podcast do you guys think she was listening to? You guys starting to see a theme here? So all she was consuming was negative, depressing things. Well, guess what happens when you consume nothing but negative and depressing things? That's all you're going to be putting out because that's all you're taking in. So one thing I did is I started listening to comedians, books. I would listen to Audible books. Why? Because you're laughing, right? Sometimes you have to change what you're consuming to get a different change inside. Kind of like if you have an upset stomach, you're going to take Pepto or drink a Sprite or something like that. It's the same thing. All right. What is your outlook, negative or positive? This is important because if you're constantly talking about, oh, my team never does this, and everything that comes out of your mouth is negative, you might be the problem. And I know that that is really hard to hear as I'm telling myself this. um, Look at it, there is always something positive. Even when terminating somebody, there is a positive thing to be seen and to be heard in that termination. It depends on how you're looking at it. You may be giving them more freedom to be able to go and pursue something that they want to do. Or if the team isn't turning in reports or whatever else, there is something positive, always something positive that can be taken away, right? But if you're constantly focusing on negative, you can't see what you're grateful for, right? You start the day with gratitude. And I know this sounds really like hokey and like, oh, it's all like warm fuzzies and all that other stuff. Sorry. Woohoo. I got that one. Um, But when you start with gratitude every day and you start with thanking them, it does something to your brain. And I don't know the science behind it, but it really does something different, right? So when you're working with a team and you find out what you're grateful for, you can start pointing that out to them. So, for instance, I have a team member and I have a couple of team members that have a very negative outlook. And so I will ask them, and I do this with my husband because we drive in together. I know that sounds weird. We drive in together, we share an office together. That's a lot of together time. A lot, a lot. We'll just leave it at that. But I'll ask him, what are you grateful for this morning? Why? Because we need to shift our mindset, right? It's been a hard couple of years, but if we don't shift it, we're gonna stay negative and it's just gonna get worse. This one's kind of fun. When was the last time you laughed? And I'm not talking like a little chuckle. I'm talking about like a belly laugh where like everybody knew you were laughing, right? If you can't remember, that's not a good sign, right? But it's a sign that all it is an indicator. Like the check engine light's on, you got to do something. Okay. So, how are we going to get to great? It is going to be a daily thing. You're going to give yourself grace and you're going to reward your small steps. For instance, if you normally are very negative and you catch yourself before that comes out, be like, oh, yeah, way to go. I caught myself. Good job, Vanessa. Celebrate it. Positive reinforcement works because your brain likes it, right? 30 days, whatever you are doing will turn into a habit, good, bad, and different, right? I know 30 days isn't, if 30 days seems like it's too much, do 2 days and then add another day and then add another day and start building it up. And if you can't start with days, do minutes, do hours, do something. Just keep moving in the direction you want to do. And I know it sounds crazy that I'm even talking like minutes and seconds, but sometimes that's all you can do. Okay. Start with one piece and then move the others. Do not try and fix all of it at once. It is too much to do, speaking from experience, right? Start with something small. If you are becoming depressed, maybe just getting up and getting dressed and brushing your hair is all you can do. Heck yes, go girl. You brushed your hair, you put clothes on, you got both your shoes on. Way to go. Like celebrate the small things, okay? Because that'll build, you'll start building your momentum. You heard the adage, you can't pour from an empty cup. I would ask for a show of hands, but I'm not gonna call anybody out. But how many people believe their cup is probably, if not empty, pretty darn close? So you got to remember while you're making sure everybody's holiday season is magical, you have to make sure you're magical too, right? Oh, and there's this magic sentence, and I promise I did not set this up, but practice saying no, even at the holidays. Why? Because no is a complete sentence. How many people pleasers have a hard time just saying no, but not explaining why you're saying no? Yeah, hi, me. Like if Jessica and Emily, if we're at an event and they ask me to go do something, the people pleaser in me is like, yes, I want to go. Yes, I want to go. But then I'm like, oh, wait, if I tell them no, are they ever going to ask me to do anything again? Yes, they're going to ask you to do something again. They understand that sometimes you just need a minute. You need to pour into yourself. I don't know if I saw a couple people at Pantheon and Women in HVAC. You didn't really see me outside of the events. Why? Because I needed to focus on me to take care of myself. It wasn't because I didn't want to hang out with everybody else or spend time connecting. I had to protect myself and protect my mental health and my issues, right? Not about anybody else. And sometimes it's not about anybody else. It needs to be about us. And ladies, gentlemen, whoever's listening to this, that's okay. I don't know who needs to hear this, but I feel like somebody really needs to hear this. It is okay to put yourself first. It is okay. And anybody that tells you no or tells you different or tries to make you feel bad, they are not in your corner. Okay. Never take advice from someone you would not trade places with or have not been where you want to go. So sometimes we love to talk to people that can relate to where we are, right? We're sitting in the muck. It's nice to be able to talk to somebody and say, hey, this muck's pretty nasty, right? But talking to them and getting advice from them, if they're still sitting in the muck, is not going to get you out of there. You want to talk to somebody that has been through something you've been through. You want to talk to somebody that is where you want to go. Those are the people you ask advice from. Don't ever ask an alcoholic how not to drink unless they are sober, right? You don't want to talk to somebody about depression and suicide unless they can understand. Empathizing is great, but if they haven't been in that dark moment where they're looking at, do I use a gun? Do I take a bunch of pills? What do I do? They don't know what that's like. And I can tell you guys it's an out of body experience. And you truly, truly believe that you are doing the best thing for everybody in your life by taking yourself out. And you don't feel like you are yourself. It's almost like, so I'm using myself as an example. It's like I'm up here and I'm watching all of it, but I can't do anything about it. Like I can't stop it. So think about that when you're getting ready to talk to somebody. Last thing is well, one of the last things, what you think about, you will bring about. And this can be good, it can be bad. If you're constantly thinking about, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get a flat tire going home, and then this is gonna happen, and this is gonna happen. We're constantly focusing on it. Guess what's eventually gonna start to happen? Everything we start thinking about, because our brain doesn't know the difference between reality and what hasn't happened yet. So it thinks it's happened and it's going to make it happen if it hasn't. But the other cool part is if Emily wants to take over lemon seed marketing and make it a global brand, and that's what she wants to do. Well, if she's thinking about it, guess what she's going to start doing? Maybe even subconsciously, she's going to start making actions to make that happen. Crystal's going to start seeing things happen and she's going to be like, whoa, what's going on here? So it can be good or bad, right? And I know this is crazy, but whatever you focus on, you will find more of, right? And I know those two walk hand in hand, but if you're focusing on more positive things, like if I'm looking at all the calls my CSRs are booking, and I'm like, they are knocking it out of the park, I'm going to see more success. If I am seeing the missed calls, those 5-second calls, well, why didn't you answer that? I'm just going to keep finding more of that. And it's like those rabbit holes. Anybody been on like one of those rabbit holes where you start on one video or you go to one TikTok or one Instagram and then like it's 2 hours later, you're like, I fell in the hole. It's like that. So whatever you're focusing on, you will find more of. Okay. The other thing that has been highly effective here at our office, okay, and it drives people nuts, but you will not believe how quickly you see a shift in behavior change. So what I do is if I hear one of the team members saying something negative, I say, okay, cool. Give me 3 positive things about that thing you just spoke negatively about. They have a hard time at first. One of the things you will see is they start watching how they're talking. They start focusing on making sure that if it's not a great thing, like instead of complaints, we have concerns, right? Because words are very powerful. So they start saying, well, this customer called in with a concern. They have concerns about pricing. They're having frustrations. They're taking all of that and phrasing it a different way. What does that do? It puts the customer at ease. It puts the CSR at ease. All the anxiety and anxiousness about having a complaint and somebody angry goes away, right? One of the other things that we don't allow them to do too is to trash talk a customer, right? Customers are hard and nobody is taco, so you can't make everybody happy at all times, all days, right? We can try, but we're not going to do it. So remind them that is still somebody's person, somebody loves them, or somebody hurt them, and just be glad you got to hang up the phone and you don't have to interact with them again. So try and keep it positive. I know I'm throwing a lot at you, but I wanted to make sure that we had plenty of time for questions and to go over anything because I figured this might kind of step on some toes and it might stir up a few things. Okay, these are resources. These are resources that we have used in our office. So Alcoholics Anonymous, oh, biscuits, it's supposed to be .org, not .org. Okay, I will fix that. You think you've gone through and like triple, quadruple checked all the slides and you always miss one thing, right? So Alcoholics Anonymous, they also have something called Al-Anon that is for people or children of alcoholics. And when I say people, I'm talking like significant others, aunts, uncles, anybody that's in their life. I highly recommend if you have been with somebody or family member of somebody either in addiction or alcoholism, you want to join Al Anon and get the support you need. There is a national suicide hotline that is 988. No matter where you are in the country, they will answer 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Okay. And right above on the slide is the hotline, the helpline for all of the substance abuse and mental health services across the country. Okay. Some of the applications, apps that can be downloaded to your phone that have been helpful, Calm has meditation, it has stories to help put you to sleep, all of that kind of stuff. Headspace does the same thing. I've actually used both Calm and Headspace and have had great experiences. Breeze is a mental health app, Soul's another one for mental health, and Better Me is another mental health one. So I know this was very fast, but like I said, I wanted for us to be able to share other tips, other resources, because it's not just me that's dealing with this, it's everybody on this call, right? Because I don't know about you guys. Do you guys have team members that call in for mental health issues and they need a mental health day? Maybe after they've been on the calls for oh yeah, April did ask me about it. Sorry guys, I'm looking at all the chat and all the questions and everything. Um, oh, Alexis and I share the similar tattoos. That's awesome.
Yes,
Um,
we've had some vulnerable sharing happening in the chat. And Vanessa, thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing your experiences and things that you've been through, and um you know, providing a safe space where we realize, like, when and if, or if and when, because if we haven't had it yet, we will at some point struggle with things like this. Um, Knowing that there's no shame in this, and knowing that there's no shame in having a struggle or needing to reach out for help. And so thank you for um giving that permission and showing that, like, hey, I've had to ask for help too. And hey, I've had these struggles and been in some really dark places in my life. We've all seen you on, the big Service Titan banners at Pantheon and stuff, but, like, at the same time, you still have those struggles, and so it gives a reminder that we can have these struggles too, and there is no shame in it. So thank you for providing that and giving these resources to us. And there have been some vulnerable chats happening here and stuff, and so thank you for creating that safe space. And so yeah, we do want to turn it over if anyone has a question or something that they are comfortable to share with the group. I will just remind, this session is recorded. It does go to our YouTube platform, and then we do share it out just in case anyone wanted to miss it. So just keep that in mind, possibly before you share, if you share. We do keep our lounge unrecorded, but this one is recorded. So just putting that out there. But um there is no shame in speaking up or having some of these struggles. But yeah, I wanted to turn it over to some of our Lady Titans here.
I don't know if
oh,
anybody practices it, but so I'm a mom of three that are like under the age of 11. So my house is always a little crazy. And then I have like other things that I have going on as well. I don't know if you guys have mentioned it, but practicing the pause. And 60 seconds might seem like really quick, but when you're taking that time to like just shut it all off for a second and get back to you and center yourself again, that 60 seconds is like what saves me from telling the kids we're not going outside today, you know? I just wanted to share that. That helps me with like all of the madness I have going on. And I work from home. So in case you guys ever want to try that, 60 seconds goes a long way, ladies.
okay. So you're saying a 60-second pause. Awesome. Does anybody practice any kind of social media disconnect?
Well, and that was gonna be something I was gonna say, like,
Mhm.
you know, you asked, like, what sparks your joy and, you know, what can you do? Go on a run, go out to a nice dinner, whatever, like, what just brings your joy? And what I've even had to kinda start asking myself is what sucks my joy, you know? And so, sometimes after doing an activity, I'll act like, do I feel better or worse about myself? And, like, almost all the time, and when I'm on social media, as soon as I swipe off, I'm like, do I feel better or worse? And a lot of times, and I even try to get rid of all the negativity, like I don't need drama on my feed and stuff, but sometimes it can still just be a suck. And not all the time, but sometimes I do have to just say, like, I'm not going to open that up today because I never feel better. Or I'm just going to take a pause or limit it to like 5 minutes so I don't get down some rabbit hole or something. But that's something that I've also had to do is like what brings joy, but also what sucks joy and having that realization to cut some things out.
So I saw Angie had asked, wondering if anyone does mental health training in their companies or offers additional support resources for their team. And I did see that Lauren put a smatahealth.com they have that in their benefits package. Lauren, I'm sorry if I butchered the heck out of that name. Um, oh, okay. She can't come off mute, but we can look it up because we can click on the link. I know we actually have a hotline posted with all of our other benefit stuff. We have resources and we go over that when we do our onboarding and just let the team know, hey, these are things that you have. I'm not shy about sharing my story with the team and talking to them because if I'm vulnerable, they know it's okay for them to be vulnerable. Um, but I'd love to hear what other people are doing.
You mentioned that Calm app, and I know some
Yes.
companies give subscriptions, to the Calm app, and, like, that's one that I personally use to know just a literal just little calming for, 60 seconds. Some of them are up to, like, 10 minutes or so,
Mhm.
but that's a easy resource, I know.
Definitely. Rachel, did you want to unmute to share or?
Sure. I will tell you, I will probably tear up. So just try and be patient. The guy wrote this last year. I was having a really rough time. Here it goes. I'm standing here beside you in this big, beautiful house, this big, beautiful house, standing here beside you in this big, beautiful house, watching over you as we lay here crying, crying over lives we have lived, looking down at you as we lay here crying. I see you. I see you from afar. As I lay here crying, crying, I can't help but think it's my fault too. Forgive me, for I have sinned. My sins of sorrow have broke me deep, deeply. I lay here crying in the ashes of tears. Forgive me, for I have sinned, keeping secrets from the shame, breaking promises from the pain. I'm standing here beside you, right here, right now, in this house. The brokenness, the shame in this house. The pain, it grows in this house. Oh, Mother, let us heal. Let us deal with the pain in this house. We submit to the guilt. We see the glory. We listen to the wisdom. We watch our souls. We hear our hearts beating as one. I'm standing here beside you in this big, beautiful house, this big, beautiful house, standing here beside you in this big, beautiful house. Please forgive me, for I have sinned. Show me, I have been weak, but you are strong. Show me what I am. Show me who I am. Break me from my pain. Break me from my shame. Love me wholly, wholly, so I can heal. Please remember my innocence from the start. Remember my kindness in my heart. Please forgive me, for I have sinned. I'm standing here beside you in this big house, this big, beautiful house, standing here beside you in this big house. Right here, standing, right now, standing, wishing you were with me, standing in this house. Hoping you will see me standing here in this house, standing here beside you, right here beside you, wishing you could see me wholly, truly in this house. I'm begging you, I'm begging, pleading for your grace, hoping you will see me lonely, lonely in this house. Please forgive me, for I have sinned. I haven't seen your beauty. I haven't seen the lessons that you have shown. Please forgive me, for I have sinned. Hoping that you will see me for who I am. Can you see me? Really see me for who I am? Can you tell me who I am? I'm standing here beside you in this big house, this big, beautiful house, standing here beside you in this big house. I can't find you. You are gone. Have you left me? Left me? What did I do? Why have you left me? Was it bad? Can you forgive me, for I have sinned? Can you make me Can I make you proud again in this house? I will show you that I am strong in this house. Carry me holy, holy from this house. Take me, heal me. Please, please forgive me, for I have sinned. Love me, because I am good. I'm standing here beside you in this big house, this big, beautiful house, right here, right now, standing here beside you in this big house. I forgive you, for I too have sinned. I'm right here standing with you in this house. Will you be whole? Sorry, you will be whole, you will be healed. Please be patient with yourself. Remember your innocence, for she is sweet, she is good, and she is strong. Remember, I'm right here standing with you in this house, forever and ever in this house.
Wow.
Thank you, Rachel.
Yes, very much so. Thank you for being willing to share. And yeah, that sounds like you were dealing with a lot last year, but sounds towards the end that everything got better. Do you want to share more about what's going on?
No, I was just dealing with some memories at a very young age, and guilt that I carried with me throughout life.
Yeah.
And healing from that guilt and memories that I bottled up, and just a lot.
Well, I think it's awesome that you felt brave enough to share it and that you even felt brave enough to write it. So you need to celebrate that, Rachel. And you read it to over, I don't know, there's probably like at least 50, 60 people on the call, probably.
Mm. I hope that it helps someone, and their path of healing, to write down your thoughts and what you're feeling. Because putting a pen to a paper is part of that process.
It's huge. It's huge. What other questions? Or do you guys talk to your team members on a regular basis? Do you notice when there's like a slight shift in their mood, or maybe that smiley tech isn't it always smiley all of a sudden? No, nobody.
Felicity's got her hand raised.
Oh, awesome. Yes, Miss Felicity. Thank you, Emily.
So I put a lot of my story in the chat already, but uh, thank you, ladies, every single one of you, for everything you've done today and shared today. Rachel, you got me all choked up. Um, one of the coolest things that has come out of living a sober life for me today is the fact that over the course of being at a company for a year and a half, um, 7 of our 11 team members actually came to me and asked me about sobriety, and today they're sober. And it's more than a year for most of them at this point. It's like almost 2 years. So it's pretty rad. I highly encourage any of you who know about these things, hear about these things, wonder about these things. If you're living that life, don't worry, don't fear asking for help, and don't fear recovering loudly, because if we recover loudly, people don't have to die quietly. And I've heard many, many times in the rooms that, some of us die so that many of us can live. And as heartbreaking and heart-wrenching as that truth and reality is, I hang on to that because I know that it gives me the strength to come into different rooms, come into bigger rooms, come into other rooms and say to you ladies that, like, today, if you or your family members are struggling with depression, addiction, anything, for one, there's a program out there. There's probably a 12-step program out there. But truthfully, there's some sort of help out there. And there are people out there who will always pick up the phone no matter what for those things. My friends, my coworkers, colleagues, industry people, I say it and I share it often. If you text me or direct message me through social media with a purple heart, I will know immediately that you need help. and that it's that kind of help. And it's a no questions asked. I will pick up the phone as soon as I see that message. And I mean, I've hopped off meetings. I've been with clients and been like, gotta go. Sorry, emergency. And it's hugely, um, it's the best part of what I get to do ever. It's my purpose and my heart. So I know that without it, each of our little companies can't survive. You know, I had a client recently tell me that they didn't want to encourage their tech to seek alcohol recovery help, and instead of, you know, putting restrictions on them or taking them out of the field after a drinking on the job incident because they felt like it would cost the company money and it was hard to find sober techs. I was like, no. I mean, yeah, it's prevalent. Yeah, it's super prevalent in the trades, but it doesn't have to be something we just sit here and accept. We can say that it's not okay and we want better for our team, not just for safety purposes and risk purposes, but at the end of the day, we want our team here in a year, in 2 years, in 5 years. And if we don't give them the tools, they can't do it. So thanks, guys.
Not a problem. So one of the other things that you can do, Felicity, thank you for sharing. Because of people like you speaking up, you are helping others. And I don't know of anybody that's sober that if somebody asks them to go to a meeting, that they're going to tell that person no. Why? Because they know what it's like to try and get sober and they're dying to help somebody. Like they literally just want to help somebody else get to the place that they're at because they know how dark where they currently are is. I know that our CEO will go with people to AA meetings. We've actually even talked about doing an AA meeting here at our office. So think of creative ways that you can help, and maybe Alcoholics Anonymous, maybe addiction. We have anytime that we have suspicions that somebody might be using or might be impaired, we have a conversation before, because once the breathalyzer's been administered, once the drug test's been done, you can't unring that bell. And oh, thank you, thank you, Felicity, for posting. She did aaintergroup.org. That can help, but I would say ask. If one thing that we can do for 2025 for the trades is start speaking up loudly for things that we need and supporting each other, let's do that. Let's make it okay for us to say no to each other and not be mad and make it okay for us to ask each other for help. I think Felicity's, you know that your name means infinite happiness, which I absolutely love. Sorry, I don't get to see Felicity very often, so it's very cool to see your name on here. But I would say think about things that you can do for your team for 2025. Maybe you want to start doing a mental health Monday where you check in on certain people. Think of something that you can do that can scale as your company grows, as you move companies, as you grow your own business, whatever you're doing, think of something that you can scale. Online and Zoom, yes, online, there's Zoom. I know that they have I have not been anywhere in the world and not been able to find an AA meeting. Genuinely. Which I think is so stinking cool. There are friends of Bill, and if you're not sure, there's a code, okay? I'm gonna share the secret code. You can say, hi, I'm a friend of Bill. And that is code to all other alcoholics that you need help and that you're looking for other people that are like you. I don't know, is there like a runner's group? Is there like a runner's secret that we should be aware of if somebody's running a lot? What to say, CSRs, it's usually like just hanging up the phone. They're like, ah.
We'd have to ask about the running.
I was to say, Angie would know if there's any running lingos or like a special like handshake.
No, just have to look around and try and find good people.
Awesome. Is there any other questions? And does anybody have any other tips or ideas? Oh, April.
I want to share briefly. There's several people on this call that know my story that I was married for 30 years. I worked with my husband like you. I drove in to work with him. We had lunch together every single day. They did a follow-up article on him. 90 days after he died because so many of the restaurants were wondering where we were and called our family business to inquire. But what I want to share is my family business, and not out of not caring, was very old school. And I was a people pleaser, and I was asked to step in and take his role and lead our team, which I did phenomenally with the help of some of the rock stars on this call from AB80. Never, I was scared. I definitely have imposter syndrome. And I did it phenomenally for about 14 months. And nobody offered me any help. I didn't go to counseling. Um, I didn't even feel, even though it was my family business, that I could go and ask for help. Could I take 90 days off? And I fell apart. And nobody had ever seen me fall apart because I was the people pleaser, the peacemaker in my family. Anything anybody wanted, even though my son was critically ill most of his life, I never asked my family to come to the ICU. And when I hear you guys saying these things, I think if that had been offered to me, or if I could have taken a pause and said, I am having a breakdown, I just realized, and I'm not going to go into the whole story, but he tragically died and I tried to save him and I was with him. And I definitely did not know until I moved to Orlando and started a different career away from my family business and with check-in calls. And I won't embarrass the people on this call, but some of you are on this call, have helped me. And in May, I lost my son, also tragically to an accident he was not sick. But by leaning into my relationship with God and my relationships with people that are positive, that don't bring me down, stories like yours at Pantheon about when I asked you about your tattoo, and hearing all of you guys today makes me want to move forward. So I encourage any of you that are, I'm not working at an actual contracting business, to do the things that Angie suggested, that you suggested, and the people that are already doing it, to spread the word. Because I actually heard somebody else on one of Jackie's podcasts recently talking about mental health and what a big deal it is in the trade. And I honestly was kind of clueless to that, because in our family business, we probably only had 1 or 2 people, but then now I wonder how many people were hiding it and you just didn't know and they weren't asking. So I just encourage you to ask. And I thank everyone on this call that helped me get through it 6 years ago and helped me to forge on in May when I lost my son. And I just want to say there's a good to everything. Michael was 20 years old and was never comfortable in his body. And I got a letter right before Pantheon, and it made me almost not want to go, but I'm going to embarrass Angie Snow. She told me I had to go. He saved 6 lives. A 16-year-old has vision because of him, and all of his tissue was used. So that does give me some peace of mind. And so I just encourage you, if you think so, to do exactly what Vanessa's saying. As much as you can do for your team, do it. Because I honestly think if I could have just taken 3 months off and gotten help, I would still be in my family business.
And guys, FMLA, so the Family Medical Leave Act, is something that is designed specifically for that. It's 3 months. It does not pay you. So it just protects your position. So that way, when you come back, you can have that or something of the equivalent. And I've had to take it. I had to take it back. I had to take a step back from our business. And then also when I was working at Service Titan, because does anybody else like to do like way more than you probably should? Just me? Okay, wait, no, I'm seeing head nods. Okay, cool. But I had to do it, and that was very hard because I don't know about you guys, but I don't like to appear weak. Because men kind of don't like that. And when you work in a predominantly male field, you kind of put that armor on, right? So I thought I was being weak. But I was actually being strong. It was being an example and giving other people permission to do the same thing. So when you think about that, think about what you're doing for other people and how to fix it. But this is awesome. I love the fact that everybody's sharing and everything in the chat is awesome. Does the chat get recorded too? I normally just listen to them, so I don't know if the chat's being recorded so people can read it too.
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay. Okay. I want to say.
It doesn't.
Okay.
I tried when I've seen other videos and I'm just like, dang, what are they saying?
Okay, so we'll have to make sure we get like some screenshots or snips so that way we can send them in. But any other questions? I'll answer everything except for my age and my weight. Those are off the table. Awesome. So like I said, I wanted it to be more kind of lounge-esque, but get some facts in there and some tools. Hopefully everybody got something, at least one thing. LOL, height and weight, we should never ask, right? Yeah. And you don't really, that's just stuff that's personal. But I hope there was something, even if it's just a small thing, somebody took away and is going to be able to be useful. But remember, guys, holidays are a tough time for everybody. Reach out to the people that you haven't heard from. Usually the holiday season is very stressful and it can be very traumatic, especially for people that are dealing with a lot of firsts. So just remember to keep people in mind, check in on them. Sometimes even just a text message from somebody you haven't heard from in a while. Hey, thinking about you. Hope everything's great is more than enough. Okay.
It's very true. Thank you so much for your wisdom today, Vanessa, and for sharing with us and everyone that's contributed to this conversation, whether just tips or things that they're doing or just their own story and vulnerability. Thank you all for sharing. And Angie, I think you're very right. You know, it is a very strong thing to put yourself first in healing and recovering. You know, one thing as I talk to myself is like, would I tell a good friend this? And so I don't think any of us would ever tell a friend, oh, you need to be doing more. Oh, you should have done that for the kids' Christmas party, or you should have done this extra thing. We would never, we would give grace to that friend and give them those positive words of encouragement. And so extend that same to yourself. And so thank you everyone for contributing and sharing, you know, this special time with each other. And so as we enter into the holiday season, I know there are many people on this call, and many people have expressed how they will be a listening ear, how they will be a hand to hold and to champion you and help you get through any hard times or struggles that you are having. So, Vanessa, thank you so much. If someone did want to reach out to you, would you be willing to share how someone might could reach out and connect
Oh,
with you?
heck yes. Best way, honestly, guys, I'll make sure Emily shares my cell phone number. Text me. If you email me, my email is a black hole of darkness. I don't want to tell you guys how many unread emails I have. I'm not proud. Hi, I'm Vanessa. I am an email non-reader and this is my first meeting. Yeah. So text me, but I'll make sure Emily has that so she can put that on the wrap up. But please, yeah, text me if you're needing something. Yeah, always.
Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this spotlight series. We hope to see you guys back for our Lady Titans Lounge on Wednesday, December 11th. And then we will also have another amazing spotlight series from Jasmine Ramirez from CI Web Group. Some phenomenal things on leadership and just championing yourself and professionalism. And so we will be having that Tuesday, December 17th. So we will see you guys all very, very soon. Happy holidays, happy Thanksgiving. Hope everyone has a fantastic time, and we will see you all in December. Thank you, ladies.
Thank
Bye.
you.